Hi friends, this is Kagi with you, and we have another episode of ADV School. Today we're going to go over my absolute favorite exercises, and in general, I'll try to give you the full range of drills on the training ground that will help you ride more effectively. Basically, everything you see today, if you master it to perfection, off-road riding won't present any fundamental difficulties for you. You chose the topic of today's video yourselves in our Telegram channel, so go there, vote, and the next video will most likely be about turning around, but we'll see about that. And first, of course, is the classic slalom, but you can ride it in different ways. Let's see how you can do it and what it will give us. As you know, the slower we ride it, the better it is for us, and the more we train our skills. There's a rut over there, so it's not very convenient, but it doesn't matter. You get the idea. Try to line up with the width of the bike's wheelbase. Right here on the left, there's a rut. I'll carefully ride through it now. Set the cones to match the length of the motorcycle's wheelbase and ride through slowly. This is the first exercise, the simplest one. Now let's make it a little bit more difficult. I'll try to stop in front of each cone. You see, it doesn't work here because there's a bit of sand. And it's harder. My tire pressure is 2.6. There's an awkward rut here. Something like that. I think you get the idea. So first we just ride through the slalom, then we ride through it slowly and stop near the cones. This is necessary to develop your sense of balance. Maybe when I was riding with my back to you, so to speak. Oh, the fan just started making noise. 28 degrees. Maybe you saw how I was moving my butt, my hips, and maybe my knees a little bit. It helps to keep your balance. Now, the next exercise, I've never tried it on the Tenere, but it should be useful. This exercise is about passing the front wheel and the rear wheel on different sides of the cone. I'll try to demonstrate it now. Actually, you need a bit more space between the cones for this one. At least I do. I'm not very good at it yet. I feel like I'm just riding right over them. I don't know if I hit them or not. I drifted a little bit. So you see, we found an exercise that I can do relatively decently on a light enduro bike. But on a big motorcycle, I just can't do it. So we found a point that I still need to work on. Well, I definitely won't be able to get through every single one. That's already clear to me. Yeah, I think I just broke them apart. Great! Actually, that's not bad. You see, I can't do it yet, which means I have something to work on. And it's this very exercise that I'll keep working on to perfection. I'll try, maybe watch some videos. I will also be sure to share them with all of you in the Telegram channel too, so that you can easily watch them as well at your convenience. The very last exercise we are going to be doing with the cones, specifically focusing on the slalom course, is to try to carefully slide the rear wheel a little bit using a controlled drift. Well, allow me to fully demonstrate and show you exactly what I mean by that. My rear tire is relatively new. The more you lean the bike, the easier it will be. And yes, of course, you can practice all these exercises while sitting as well. But I recommend doing them standing up like real men. Next exercise. We're doing circles, so you can also include figure eights here. We make a circle trying to lean as much as possible and reduce the radius of the circle. You can do it either sitting or standing. Actually, it's best to do both to develop that sense of balance, both to the left and to the right accordingly. So let's start sitting down. Elbow out, try to lean out and spin around the cone. You can even lean out even more to tilt the motorcycle further. Work with the clutch and throttle smoothly. The slower, the better, of course. Oh, I tipped over a little. Your head starts to spin when you ride fast for a long time. That's why you should try to go slowly. Here comes this Spakovic in the background. The principle is the same. Slowly while leaning. Stalled, by the way. But fortunately I pulled in the clutch in time, so everything completely turned out fine in the end. There's a slight slope here. I don't know if you can see it or not. The camera is pointing downhill, so it picks up a bit of speed here. Some acrobats even manage to do this with their foot off the foot peg. I tried to do it that way too. Let's take a little break because your hand gets tired. You have to control the clutch a bit and your fingers get tired from that. Oh, almost fell because I got a little tired. You can do all the same things to the right side as well. I'll switch now. So now we're doing the same thing to the right side. We lean off and gently. When you are controlling the motorcycle and actively trying to look through the turn, meaning precisely where you are actually going to be heading, we do exactly the same thing. And again, don't forget to give your hand a little rest. At first, it can get pretty sore. I don't think I need to explain to you what a figure eight is or how it works. So, you set up the cone the same way and make these turns in a figure eight. This helps you practice shifting your body weight. By the way, I think I already had a video about the figure eight in the ADV school, about the training lot. Now let's move on to the next exercise. I'm a little out of breath. The next exercise, it's going to be right here, as you might have guessed. This is front brake locking. Why do you need this? Why? So you won't be afraid and can teach yourself to release the front brake in time and squeeze it again. This will help you on descents when you accidentally overuse the front brake, especially if you're riding without ABS. The exercise is quite useful, so I recommend doing it at least once to get that exact feeling when the front wheel locks up. And so you won't be afraid of it at all, of course. If you're scared, you can start while sitting. There, I locked it, then released. Locked it, released. Once you get the hang of it, you can try doing this while standing. As you can see, actually, on a locked front wheel... Oops, I went out of frame. Well, it's fine, you can still hear me. Actually, you can even ride a bit like this. Like, just a little... But sometimes a lot, if you already know how. Didn't work out. Oh! I even managed to ride a bit. You can speed up a little, then it will probably be easier. However, if your vehicle's tires are not very grippy, then you will actually lock the front wheel pretty quickly, potentially leading to a loss of control and stability. It's not that hard to do if your tires aren't grippy. One more time and let's move on. Did you see that? How it hit the lock. But in this case, I shifted my weight onto the left foot peg. And it worked out. And here comes a guy on a defender. Looks like we've figured out the braking, right? But there's really nothing complicated here. You just need to overcome that fear and keep your balance without putting too much weight on the front handlebar. On the front handlebar, on the handlebar. Let's move on to my favorite thing, the one I always recommend to everyone. It's riding with one hand. I should have set up some cones here, but just imagine there are cones. The goal of riding with one hand is not just to keep a steady throttle, but to accelerate, brake, and handle all sorts of obstacles. Actually, I can even drift a little bit with one hand, just a tiny bit. I'm not super perfect at it, but there's always room for improvement. Let me show you acceleration and braking first, then the rest. So we're riding steadily, and to accelerate, we shift our weight and give it some gas. And now we brake. So we're riding, accelerating, and braking. I shifted my weight back a little poorly because I wanted to get in the frame. Didn't make it in time. Keep practicing. Now let's imagine we have some cones over there. And we need to maneuver around them. Oops, I accidentally shifted into first gear. I don't like how it feels in first gear. It's too jerky, a bit uncomfortable. The thing here is just that. You're learning to steer with the foot pegs, not the handlebars. Because, well, it's hard to steer like that with the handlebars. Press down on the foot pegs and accordingly control the motorcycle. Guide it into the turn. This will help you on sandy sections and the like, where steering with the handlebars basically doesn't make sense. Let's do it again. Accelerate, shift your weight, and give it some gas. And brake. A small slalom. Try to look ahead, not at your front wheel. Now we're going to practice riding on one foot peg. This will... Basically, you won't really need this in actual riding, but it helps develop good motorcycle balance. Get off the motorcycle and try to start off using just one foot peg. Something like that, exactly. You apply the brake a little bit, then you get off, you walk, and then you accelerate forward. That was with the left, now I'll show you with the right. There's a bit of a slope here for me. Oh, stalled it! So we're just riding, getting off now then. You can stop. Supposedly it's a bit harder to start from a stop, or so they say, I don't know. Well, you get the idea. It's absolutely not difficult, as you saw. Yeah, it's a little bit harder on the right side, but on the left it's no problem at all. Some people say it's difficult. I don't know. In my opinion, it's super easy. I think that's pretty much the whole set you need, except for one exercise. It's hard for me to find a place to film it right now, but it's a very useful exercise. You place a marca and ride around it on a slope. This exercise will help you really feel what it's like when you need to shift your weight on the motorcycle. So you have a slope, the marker is here, and you ride around it. I have videos on my channel with this exercise, you can always find them. I haven't shown you here how to stand in the riding position or how to shift your weight during acceleration and braking. All of that can be found in Chris Birch's materials. Actually, that's true for many of these exercises. Check out his content because I learned from his lessons. Moreover, there's a translation by Moto Alibi on my channel. Thank you very much for the translation. Everything is in Russian, clear and accessible. The whole range of exercises. Slaloms, different ways of doing slaloms. You can also set up cones to make it more challenging, but that's just a variation. The main idea is the slalom. Turning around the cone, figure eights. All of this is to help you feel how to shift your body weight from one side to the other, how to go slowly, how to work with counter-leaning, how your weight affects the motorcycle's center of gravity, and when it starts to tip over and when it doesn't. Absolutely, once again, you must practice riding with one hand. Without Without practicing riding with one hand, it will be very difficult to learn how to properly grip the motorcycle with your knees and ankles. Without this skill of riding while properly squeezing the motorcycle, you won't be able to manage at all on unpredictable, somewhat loose surfaces like dirt, sand, gravel, or anything similar, because you need to remember that you're not supposed to hold onto the handlebars. You only use the handlebars to steer to help guide the motorcycle. You can also ride using 2 fingers, yes, but it doesn't really develop your leg work as effectively, let's put it that way. Riding with one hand is what really helps you develop proper leg work. You might have noticed that I'm not doing all of this perfectly because, come on guys, I've only been riding off-road for a year and a half. And everything I'm telling you isn't the absolute truth. I could be wrong. And in fact, I often am, but I learn from my mistakes. I'd like to think that's how it works anyway. Next, it is important to just practice locking the front wheel to truly develop the essential skill of releasing it in a timely manner. That is to say, not holding on for an excessively long period of time. This is really helpful when going downhill. For example, if you're riding without ABS on a loose surface, like the slopes we have here, these are the only kinds of descents we have here. You have to keep pressing down and the surface under your wheel is always changing. At some point there's even less grip and the wheel locks up. You have to release it immediately. You need to develop this reflex. You shouldn't be afraid of it because sometimes even the handlebars can twist a bit. By the way, if you really practice, you can even ride a meter with a locked wheel. That would mean you're distributing your weight correctly and not holding onto the handlebars. I don't have that level of skill yet, but it's something to strive for. As you saw, on the Touring Enduro, I'm not very good at weaving through cones in both directions, meaning the front wheel is on one side of the cones and the rear is on the other. I don't do that well on the Touring Enduro. On a light Enduro, I can do it, but not very well either. Obviously, if I could do it really well on a light Enduro, then on the Touring Enduro it would be much easier. Basically, I think I could do it too. However, I've never tried it before. I just tried it now for the first time. And as you can see, there's still work to be done. That's the whole set of things we looked at today. Of course, for most of you, it's already the off-season. Make a note of it. You can practice in some stadiums that are closed in winter, or you can train on a light enduro bike. It's all the same, really. The exercises don't differ whether you're on a light bike or a big motorcycle. But the most important thing is that everything I did and showed you today, if you master all of this, you'll feel very, very confident off-road. What's left are riding over obstacles, jumps, and getting some practice on uphills and downhills, but all of that comes with time. There's really nothing super difficult about it. The main thing is balance and understanding how to work the throttle. Riding with one hand again will help you operate the throttle smoothly instead of jerking it. Also start using the clutch. Do circles and practice clutch and throttle control so that everything is smooth with no jerks. Next time, I think we'll talk about turning around. This was Kagi with you. Don't forget that we have a Telegram channel where we don't chat very often, so it's not something that will constantly pop up and annoy you in your feed. But we also use it to choose the topics for upcoming videos. This was Kagi. Keep practicing. Bye-bye. Take care.